Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this hat here. It's worked from the bottom up. And it comes to the top and you just have a little hole left and then you just sew it together. Now this I would consider an intermediate pattern because you got to know how to do post-stitch decreases and stuff like that. I'll show you, but I mean it'd be better if you had a little bit of experience with that. So I would consider this like an intermediate pattern. But I think it turned out pretty good. I like it. It's my hat. I'm going to wear it. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Oh, it can be for a man or for a woman too. Okay, for this project, I'm using some yarn I got from Mary Maxim. It's called Natural Alpaca Tweed. It is a medium weight number 4, so you do not have to use this yarn. Any medium weight 4 yarn will work. The color is sand dune in case you were interested. There's 262 yards per skein. You're probably going to need about 200 yards to finish this hat. This is a 77 acrylic, 20 alpaca, 3% viscose. But like I said, any medium 4 weight yarn will work. And then I'm going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Alright, we're going to start with a chain of 11. Now we're starting on the brim of the hat first, and then we'll work our way up to the top of the hat. So once you get your chain of 11 done, we're going to go ahead and single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch of the chain. And that'll end row 1, and you should have a total of 10 stitches now. Now for row 2, it's going to be the repeat row of the brim of the hat. We're just going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch. So this very first stitch here, if you flip it over, you need to go in the back loop of it only. So normally you go through both loops, but now we're just going to go in the loop that's furthest away. So you're only working in one loop. This first stitch is always the hardest one to get. In my opinion, it's always hard. There we go. And now it's just 1 single crochet, back loop only, of every stitch. And it's going to create ridges by only working in that one loop. And when you get to the end of the row, you should have a total, again, of 10 stitches. That's the end of row 2. And there you can see that ridge. Row 3, we're going to repeat it. We're going to chain 1 and turn, working in the back loop only. 1 single crochet in every stitch. And we're going to just keep repeating this pattern, or this row. Chain 1 and turn, start row 4, single crochet in the back loop of every stitch. You're always going to have 10 stitches at the end of every row. So just keep repeating this, rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch, but you're only working in the back loop, 10 stitches at the end of every row. just like that. That's what it kind of starts to look like. Okay, you want to work it till you have a total of 60 rows. And if you look, you can see the ridges that it makes, and it'll be the same on both sides. Now we're going to fold it in half here, and we're going to slip stitch it together. And this will create the brim of our hat. So go ahead and hold it together and go through the first stitch. You can go through both loops. And then both loops on the other side and slip stitch. And we're going to do that all the way down. Both loops on this one and then on the other side. And you want to do this until you get to the end here. Alright, I made it to the end. Pull your stitch out like that. Now we want to flip our work. And that way that slip stitch is on the inside there. See that? So it kind of lines up. Okay, now we go ahead and start again. Just pick up where you left off. And now we're going to start working, we're going to work a row of single crochet. So we're going to chain one. And we're going to go into every stitch and single crochet. And if you look, it's actually, you're just going in at the end of every row and putting a single crochet. So one, you need to have 60 when you make it all the way around because you have 60 rows. So at the end of every row, just go in and put a single crochet. Oops. I know it's kind of hard to see where they need to go. But just do your best to evenly space out 60 single crochets. Like that. So we're going to work all the way around until you get back to your starting point. Alright, I've made it back around and I have my 60 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first single crochet. Now I'm going to chain one and I'm going to put a double crochet back into that same stitch. And I'm going to go around and I'm going to work one double crochet in every stitch. So we did the brim, and now we're going to count the single crochet row that we just did as row 1. And now this double crochet row will be row 2, since we're starting on the main portion of the hat. We already did the brim. So single crochet was row 1. We had 60 stitches, and this will be row 2. So we're putting row 2, we're putting one double crochet in every stitch all the way around. Okay, I've come to the end of round 2. We're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into your first double crochet, and you should still have 60 stitches. Now round 3, we are going to chain 1. Now we're going to be working back post single crochets. So we're going to go around this first stitch here from the back side like that to where the post is on the back, and we're just going to do a regular single crochet like that. And that's what we're going to do on every stitch. So we're going to go to the next one, go around the post from the back like that, so your post is on the back of your hook, and single crochet. Again, the next one, And again. And this is what we're going to do all the way around. Back post single crochet in every stitch until you get back to your starting point. Just like that. And it's kind of creating that ridge there. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around until you get back to your starting point. Alright, I've made it to the end of row 3 of the main portion of our hat. We're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first back post single crochet right into the top of it. You still should have 60 stitches. Now what we're going to do is repeat rows 2 and 3. So we are going to chain 1 and we're going to double crochet back into that same stitch. And we're going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch around. Now we're not going into that ridge, we're going into the back post single crochet behind that ridge. Just like that. So 1 double in every stitch until you get back to your starting point. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 4 and I have 60 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet. And now for round 5, I'm just going to repeat round 3. So I chain 1 and I'm going to do a back post single crochet in every stitch. Just like this. Back post single in every stitch until I get back to my starting point. Okay, we want to repeat rows 2 and 3 until we get a total of 9 rounds. So that's starting. That first single crochet row counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 rounds total, repeating rounds 2 and 3. So you should end on a front or a back post single crochet row, and you still should have 60 stitches. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first back post single crochet. And now we're going to do some decreasing to decrease the top of the hat shut. So we're going to chain 1. I'm going to put a double crochet into the first 4 stitches. So there's 1, oops, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to do a double crochet decrease over the next 2. Double crochet decrease is worked over 2 stitches. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 3 loops on your hook. That took 2 stitches and made it into 1. Now I'm going to repeat. I'm going to do 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to double crochet decrease over the next 2. So I'm going to yarn over, go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Then I'm going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 3. And that's the pattern I'm going to repeat all the way around. 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches, and then double crochet decrease over the next 2. Just like that. So I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I've come to the end of round 10. You should have ended in a double crochet decrease, and you should have 50 stitches now. So now we're going to go in by slip stitching into our first double crochet. That'll end round 10. Now we're going to start round 11, and we're still going to be decreasing, but we're going to do it with our back post single crochet. So we're going to chain 1. Okay, so we're going to do a back post single crochet over the first 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do a back post single crochet decrease over the next 2. So we're going to go around the post of the next stitch like that and draw up a loop, and then we're going to go around the post of the next stitch and draw up a loop. Oops. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3. So that took 2 stitches and made it into 1. Now we're going to repeat that again. We're going to do a back post single crochet over the next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to decrease over the next 2. So we're going to go around the stitch from the back, draw up a loop, and then go around the next stitch from the back, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3. And then we're going to that's what we're going to keep repeating all the way around. Back post single crochet over the next 3. There's 1, 2, 3, and then decrease over the next 2. So go around the post of the next and drop a loop, and then around the post of the next, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3. So I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 11, and you should end in a back post single crochet decrease. So I'm going to finish that. I got to do them slow. I keep dropping my stitches. There we go. Just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first back post single crochet. Remember, we're working in the stitches back here. We're not working along this ridge. So now we're going to chain 1 for round 12, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches. So we go right here into this very first stitch. So there's 1, and then 1 double into the next. And now we're going to do a double crochet decrease over the next 2. Just like that. Repeat 1 double crochet into the next 2. There's 1, 2, and double crochet decrease over the next 2. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. Double crochet into the next 2, and double crochet decrease over the next 2, like that. And I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. All right, I've made it to the end of round 12 here, and you should end in a decrease, and you should have a total of 30 stitches now. End by slip stitching into your first double crochet. Round 13, we're going to do a row of back post single crochets again. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to back post single crochet around the first stitch, and then we're going to back post single crochet around the next 2. So we go around the first stitch, draw up a loop. It's good to keep the decreases kind of loose, it's just easier that way. And then go around the next stitch, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3, like that. And then we're going to put 1 back post single crochet into the next, and then we're going to do the back post single crochet decrease over the next 2. So go around the post of the next, keep it kind of loose, and then around the next. It's easy to drop your stitches on this one. There we go. Yarn over and go through all 3. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. 1 back post single crochet, and then a back post single crochet decrease over the next 2. Like that. And I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 13. You should have 20 stitches, and you should have ended in a decrease. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first back post single crochet. You want to leave it a ponytail beanie? You can. I'm going to close mine up. So what I'm going to do for round 14, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to double crochet decrease all the way around. So I'm going to yarn over and go into this very first stitch and draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Then I'm going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and yarn over and go through all 3. So I'm going to do this all the way around, but you just want to make sure you keep your stitches tight. So I'm going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 3. Again, keeping it tight. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, and then the remaining 3. And I'm doing this in every stitch all the way around. Okay, once you make it back to your starting point, you should have 10 stitches, or 10 double crochet decreases. That, and I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet decrease, like that. And now I'm going to close the top up with round 15 by single crochet, and then I'm going to just do regular single crochet decrease all the way around. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not doing any more posts. I'm not doing the back post single crochet. I'm doing regular single crochet decrease. I'm going to go into the first stitch, draw up a loop, the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Keeping it tight, I'm going to do this all the way around. Next stitch, draw up a loop. Next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3. Next stitch, draw up a loop. Next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3. Next stitch, draw up a loop. Next stitch, draw up a loop, all 3. And the next stitch, draw up a loop. Next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3. Make it back around. You should have 5 stitches. I'm not going to end by slip stitching. I'm just going to pull my yarn tight or long, and I'm going to clip a long tail and sew my top together. So you clip a long tail, use your yarn needle, and just finish sewing up the hole at the top. So I just kind of go back and forth. This will kind of hide your tail. At the same time, you sew up that little hole that remains. And that's pretty much all there is to it now. Okay, now I'm going to go around the bottom here with some single crochet. So I'm going to kind of start where my seam was from before in the back of the hat. And you can start in any stitch that you want. Go ahead and pull your yarn through. And what we're going to do is we're going to put single crochet in every stitch. So we're going to chain 1 and go back into that same stitch and single crochet. Now I'm going to work across, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. And remember, it's kind of like at the beginning. It's kind of 1 at the end of every row is where you need to put your single crochet. Just like this. And when you get back around to the other side, you should have a total of 60 stitches. So I'm going to continue around until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I made it to the end and I went ahead and slip stitch into my first single crochet. I have 60 stitches. Now, if you want your hat longer than what this one is, some people like their hats longer than others, you can do another round of single crochet if you want. I'm just going to do the one. I think it fits me okay. Go ahead and clip off. And then hide this tail, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I know sometimes those decreasing those post stitches can get kind of confusing, but hopefully you follow along okay. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you look over there on the right hand side of the screen, I'll put a playlist of all my other hats in case you're interested in checking them out too. So until next time, have a good day.